I'm Kay, and welcome back to Game Sprite Mode. The last few videos I've done have been pure funtivities, but today I am going to be getting back to business, and we are going to be doing a theory-heavy video on the differences between a system, the net, and the web. I hope this is helpful for maybe the more casual Reboot watchers who don't spend hours on the Reboot wiki like I do. So I guess stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy this video.
Warning, incoming game. Warning, incoming game. Game over. User wins.
Okay, so as you can see, super serious, we're going to have visual aids for this video. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be talking as if we actually exist in the world of Reboot, just to make things a little easier. Before we delve into the net, the web, systems, all that fun stuff, first I have to define cyberspace, because cyberspace is what this entire world exists in. It is defined as the reality of all computers in the Reboot wiki. Everything we know exists in cyberspace, and the only thing outside of it is the realm of the user. Now, we don't know what or who the user is or what kind of realm or world the user lives in. So for the purpose of this video, we don't have to worry about outside of cyberspace. Cyberspace in relation to everything else that exists, I would have to say cyberspace, think of it like a container that holds all things. So, very wonky container, but essentially everything inside this container is cyberspace. And everything outside of the container is what we don't know, which would be the user. And now that we've established that in this box is cyberspace, we can now move on to everything else that exists within there. Okay, so now we have a general concept of what cyberspace is. Now, cyberspace can actually be divided into 4 different realms. So I'm just going to erase this so we have a bit more space. So yes, cyberspace is subdivided into 4 realms. I'm sure if you've watched the show, you already know the majority of the realms and what I'm about to say, but the web is one like plain existence. The net, game cubes, and this next term is going to be slightly ambiguous, but it's never given a clear definition in the show or title, but on the Reboot wiki, we refer to this 4th realm as the Shadow Realm. So everything that exists in the world of Reboot, in our world, it exists in one of these 4 planes. For the purpose of this video, we are not going to be delving into game cubes or the Shadow Realm. That's definitely going to be content for another video in the future. So the web and the net are going to be our primary focuses for today. But before that, I think it's important for us to understand where they are in relation to each other and what exactly a system is. Okay, so we are going to get into the net and the web and where they are on this beautiful diagram I have going here. But first, let me just define what a system is. I'm kind of winging it a little bit because there's no clear definition of what it is on the Reboot Wiki. So my definition of a system is a permanent settlement of high-energy life forms. So obviously a system like mainframe or the supercomputer, it's kind of like a city. Okay, so now that we've got a little bit of the background information, let's get to work. First, I am going to be putting a line dividing our diagram, and that line is actually going to be representing the Shadow Realm. Sorry, just gonna move my notes. Okay. Now, there's a reason why this line represents the Shadow Realm, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. So that is the Shadow Realm. So, on one side of the Shadow Realm is going to be the net, and the other side is going to be the web. Oh no, technical difficulties, this marker doesn't work. So first we're going to look at the net. The definition of a net would be consists greatly of complex systems and pathways. So the net is where the majority of the storylines in Reboot take place. All of these systems and the places that, spoiler alert, Andrea and Matrix go when they're game hopping, all of these places exist in the net. So I'm just going to draw 4 systems on there just for an example. So these green circles here are all systems. And the lines connecting them are the pathways, because as I had stated earlier, the net is made up of complex systems and pathways. These pathways are how we travel between the different systems. Now, if you remember from the show, the term offline and online has been used when talking about systems. So I'm going to color in the circles that hypothetically we are saying are online systems. So these 3 systems, we can easily travel to one another via these pathways. But this system here, which I'm going to color in blue, this would be an offline system. So even if we tried to travel to the pathway, let's just say those lines are little doors, you can't get to that system. The only way to travel to an offline system is via portal. And we all know that portals are formed by stabilizing tears. Okay, so now that we've gone over what a system is and have a general understanding of the concept of the net, it's time to move on to the web. The net is very orderly. It has systems and pathways. It's very cut and dry, and there's a natural order to things. In the web, things are a little more random and chaotic. There's data storms and web creatures, and a lot of things that we actually don't really understand. Visually, I like to compare the web kind of to outer space, just a vast sea of chaotic nothingness that we're yet to completely understand. Now, here's where things get a little interesting, because all of these systems that exist in the net have a corresponding location in the web. That's why I feel like they coincide and need one another. We just don't know why that reason is. So, these X's represent systems, and even the offline system you can access from the web. The location of where to access a system in the web is called its web address. So if you can remember to season 3 of Reboot with Matrix and Andrea, they were in the web and they were able to get to mainframe because they found where mainframe's web address was. So if you could get to this location, if you wanted to go to, let's say, this system, you would just have to have a portal, stabilize a tear, or have a portal there, and you'd be able to go to the system. So I hope this made things a little easier for maybe a new watcher or a casual watcher to Reboot to kind of understand the differences between the net and the web. Now's the point where I get a little, I guess, philosophical as I discuss kind of the relationships between the net and the web. So the net is where high energy life forms like sprites and binomes, they can live freely and exist without any issues. In the web, the environment itself is almost hostile to any life form, except for web creatures, which have, I guess, very thick shells that protect them from this. I like to think of the environment of the web as kind of like nuclear waste. You know, the longer you're exposed to it, to this radiation, you begin to degrade and break down, as we saw with a lot of the web writers that actually exist in the web. It starts to break down your code and you kind of get a bit deformed. I honestly think that the net is supposed to represent order while the web represents chaos. Two complete polar opposites where without one, the other couldn't really exist. Because what is order without the existence of chaos? The net is run by the Guardian Collective, and everything seems very cut and dry, which of course we've seen in some episodes that this could actually be dangerous. The fact that the Guardians are willing to completely sacrifice a small system like mainframe when the one web creature got loose, how they're ready to just completely nuke it, wipe it off the face of the net, you know, just to protect the rest of the net. So there is a little bit of debate of if having complete order is actually good, whereas in the web, everything's unpredictable. But is it only unpredictable because we haven't gone exploring it? Perhaps if more sprites went into the web, it wouldn't be such of a mystery. But just the fact that you can access systems that exist in the net from the web, it implies that maybe the net and the web have a much greater relationship and they have to exist with each other. So I hope that's just a little tidbit, a little food for thought to get your mind going. But that's pretty much the conclusion of my video. For those of you who don't know, I actually have a Tumblr, same name as this channel, gamespritemo.tumblr.com, and I am going to be posting my notes, which with a much better drawn diagram than this, just in case anyone wanted to look at that, just for their own knowledge. Also, there is a Reboot fan wiki. It's very easy to find. Just Google Reboot Wiki and it will come up. That's where I got the majority of this information. I just kind of condensed it and also mixed in a bit of my own knowledge from rewatching the show like a million times. But I honestly hope this video was a help to someone, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, I guess let me know down in the comments. I will most definitely be making a video on GameCubes at some point in the future. I'm just not sure when. So stay frosty.